welcome to Elaine's Bougie Kitchen. Not to get long-winded, I just kind of wanted to get on here and talk to you guys about, you know, what the channel will be about. A lot of the stuff that I'm gonna do on this channel, it's not necessarily stuff that I've done before. It's made something be that I've done literally the first time, you know, on the video. I have something I'm trying to do where I am doing a private lesson with someone who is a baker, so I'm hoping I can get that started real soon, and I want to eventually make that be what my channel is mainly about, is baking. But for now it's going to be a little bit of everything because this is all about my kitchen. Also, you might see some organization. So I haven't really done a full like organization. I mean, my pantry is done with the containers and clear bins, but it's not quite what I want it to be. So I'll probably end up doing some new things with that so I can do an actual video on that. But just wanted to let you guys know what to expect on the channel. So it's going to be any cooking, any baking, or any organization, anything around the kitchen. I might every once in a while do some reviews on certain things that may not necessarily be about the kitchen, but you know, hey. All right guys, so you see these are pictures of the ingredients that we're going to use today, so let's get into the video. I'll go ahead and open up a pack of the vanilla. So you're going to just put one whole pack of the vanilla in there. I'm going to add in a spoonful of butter. You could do maybe a spoonful and a half. And then you're going to add a spoonful of flour. So once you are done, you're then going to grind your mixture. So, but it did come out a little clumpy, which is what you want. I did forget to add, so once you're done, you do need to put this on a baking sheet. So I did go ahead and already line mine with the parchment paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it in the baking pan. And then we'll go ahead and repeat everything for the strawberry. So I did go ahead and do the strawberry as well. So this one came out better because the first setting I did a dough setting. I don't know why I did that. I guess I thought it wouldn't make big of a difference. It did come out just like my other one. Now I'm going to add the strawberry in. And just gonna kind of mix this around. You want to bake it for about, let's say 4 or 5 minutes. And like I said, I'm using a French vanilla, so that is why my color is so vibrant. I'm not using the normal vanilla that a lot of people use. Some people actually use what do you call it, the Oreo, the vanilla ones, but I think from my understanding they help it get that real fine look. That's what I've been told. But we're gonna go ahead and put this in the oven. And like I said, this is my first time making this, so you know, over time you get better and better how to do it. And I'll see if I like it this way or do I prefer what I want to try it doing the Oreo way. You don't want it to melt. If it does melt a little bit, because mine may, but it's okay because we're going to end up putting it back in the food processor anyway, and it's going to end up getting a little fine, little crisp. So, all right. So, as I said, mine probably would melt, which it did some, which is fine. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that this cools down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually put this in the freezer actually to help cool this down, because then I'll need to take this off and then we're going to need to put it back into the food processor or grinder, whatever you have. So you'll need to put it back in there, but we have to be able to let this cool down. So we have to put this in the refrigerator. I would say to do this, to put it in the refrigerator, you want to let it cool down maybe 10-15 minutes or so, because you got to be able to handle it, like break it apart. So I'm going to put this in the freezer actually to help it cool down quicker, and then we will continue the process. While this is actually cooling down though, what I am going to do, I am going to start preparing to assemble the waffle cone. So just wanted to show you guys. So you'll put this in the freezer or refrigerator just enough to where this can cool down. I put some candy melts already into my jar that I'm going to put in the microwave. I just put a few, because you really don't need too many, because you're just going to dip the cone. I might put a little more if I see after it melts it's not a lot. I probably will actually add a few more before I put it in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this melted, and then after that has been melted, I'm going to go ahead and start assembling my bags for the cream cheese, the filling. Sorry, but I shook the stand with it. But I'm gonna go ahead, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut a little bit right here, and then I'm gonna slide my, and I believe this is a 1M, I think that's what it was, and I'm gonna put it in the inside, and then once everything is done, I'll take out the crunch, and then we'll go ahead and pour everything in and start assembling everything. So just want to tell you, while that is in the freezer, I'm going to go ahead and get everything prepared for my next step, which is I will melt the candy, go ahead and get this pre-snipped so I can insert my 1M, and then I'll probably pre-cut a couple of the strawberries because I'm going to put a little bit on the waffle cone. I will get my waffle cones ready to where once everything's done, I can have it a little assembly line. But all right, I just wanted to get on here to let you know what I will be doing while we are waiting for the strawberry crunch to cool down, since it was in the oven. Strawberry crunch, I couldn't think of the name. So what I will say, after baking it, how it kind of like melted together. So what I ended up having to do was I did add half a cup of flour in a bowl, and I kind of just, with my hands, I kind of made it more of a crumble. What I have found is that using the food processor, it did not break it down enough to where it became like a crumble. So in order to have gotten this look, I ended up having to use a fork along with crushing it together with my hands. So I'll show you guys what I mean by that. So it's just me, my hands is clean, and I basically just went like that with my hands. I did end up using a fork too, that does work as well, to help mash it down and to get it that crumble. You can leave some big pieces in there. I will say though, while leaving big pieces in there, when it comes to putting the crunch on the chocolate on the cone, some of the big pieces may fall off. So I advise to try to get it as small as you can, but you don't have to necessarily make it real fine. I would say probably use maybe the fork method, but also I suggest that you get like something that's a grinder or something that can pulse something, because I think that that will work. But I do have some real fine pieces in here, as you can see. So I was able to get some pieces, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long. I just think if I probably had the food processor, I guess I used, maybe I didn't have it on the right setting or something, but it just didn't work. But I too also think that I needed more flour. I don't think I added enough flour. So even though it says in the directions to use a spoonful, I would say probably use a spoonful and a half maybe, because if it's too wet or moist, then that's when you run into more problems mixing it together, and the strawberry will not come out like the vanilla. So like I said, I used French vanilla. I didn't use regular vanilla because I like the taste of the French vanilla. I use it with another dessert I make called cookie pudding. But yeah, so, and I'll make that one here too. So that's pretty much almost the same thing. I don't like bananas in my banana pudding. I just like the pudding part, the custard part. So I call it a cookie pudding, but I'll make that so you guys can see what that tastes like or what that's about. So anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and get everything together. I did go ahead and warm up my chocolate, so that's all ready. I did go ahead and make one just to see how it worked. I actually have it in the freezer, but what I would recommend, I'm going to show you guys the process, but after you coat this with the chocolate and you put it on, put this the crunch on there, because I don't have like a stand or anything like that in my freezer, so what I ended up doing was, you know, the racks that's in the freezer, I just stuck the cone down in there, so that way this part, the actual part that you dip, is going to get a little firm, and that way you'll be able to eat it, because you can't eat it when it's too hot. I definitely say with warming up the chocolate, it is a little warm, so when it comes to putting the crunch on there, it may slide a little bit, so that's why you want to make sure you try to get it as fine as you can. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be fine. In fact, it's probably, I like that I have small and big pieces with mine, because I just, you know, it's just like the strawberry crunch cake. You get small and big pieces, so it's the same thing. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. Also, I use this already because I tried. If it's dirty, what I did was, and I'll show you, I did not roll. I rolled my chocolate in my measuring cup that I warmed up, but I did not roll my strawberry crunch stuff in here, just because I didn't want that to get clumpy. So I ended up, in which, like I said, I'll show you, I ended up just putting it on like that, you know, going around. So I'll show you guys that, but I just wanted to tell you guys that little tidbit before we get started. I do recommend that you get your I couldn't think of it, your cream cheese kind of room temperature, so that way when it's time for you to actually start putting it inside of the cone, it is a little loose and easier to let it flow out of your piping bag. But if not, it's okay. It's a little bit, maybe a little stiff, which is fine, but I think it's probably a little more easier to work with. But you don't want it too firm anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to put that little disclaimer out there about a couple of things while doing this, what I noticed, what worked for me and what did not work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything situated, so that way you guys can see the process that I do. And like I said, this was my first time doing these, and it wasn't bad. Like I said, it wasn't actually bad at all. I just, now I know what to do going forward. You know, so I'll probably put sprinkles on one of them versus putting strawberry on it. Actually, I'll probably show you the one that I did already in my freezer, because I think that's the one that I'm going to use as my strawberry, or I might use another one. Never mind, just forget that I said that. All right, well, let's get started. Go ahead. I only had my cream cheese sitting out just for a little bit, but basically I'm going to squirt enough, and it's probably easier if you don't have both of your hands being occupied, because if I'm struggling, it's probably easier to put it in a bowl, basically. Not a bowl, something that you can stand up and do it, but I don't want to make this too much because this is a lot of cream cheese. But that's it pretty much, guys. It's so cute. It's so cute. Like, that's a lot of cream cheese though, so I probably wouldn't do as much, just because that's a lot. I know we want to think of it as a cone, but that's a lot of cream cheese. But hey, this is what people make, so I wanted to try it. I want to see if I can do a little razzle dazzle. I don't know if this is going to work, but I saw people do like little stuff on here, so I just, you know, a little something. nothing major, you know. You can do a little more than this. I'm just testing it out. If I got more chocolate, but and then you can add, you know, some strawberries on the top if you want to add a few. I hope I don't get this everywhere. Little sprinkles on it. You don't have to do this, but so that's pretty much it, guys. I know it's not the best looking thing. This is what it looks like, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to do it again. I'm gonna actually put this in the freezer though, so I can go ahead and show you guys actually how to assemble it. All right, so as I said, I just kind of swirl it around inside the bowl, and depending on how far you want the chocolate to go on the cone, you can bring it down that far. So I'll show you guys in a second. And you do want to drain the cream cheese, not cream cheese, the chocolate out, because you don't want to have all of that at the bottom of the cone. I definitely recommend wearing gloves though. So sorry if my head's in there, my bad. Sorry guys. So as I said, for me, what worked was I could technically roll it in there, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want that to get clumpy. So for me, I just used this and I kind of let it go around. And depending on how thick you want it to be, oh, see, I'm making a mess. Like I said, you don't want the chocolate too warm because, you know, stuff will slide off, but you kind of want to shake the excess off anyway, so that's okay. If you have stuff that come off, yo, I keep having stuff that hit my floor and I'm not happy. Sorry, I had a little OCD moment. Okay, so anyway, so I just kind of do that. Like I said, you can swirl it, you can put it in there if you want, but I think this was a nice little thing. Like I said, this was my first time ever doing these, and actually I had not oops, I didn't hit the cone, but I can see how it can be a little sweet, but all right guys, so like I said, I think I got stuff all in there. That actually looks really good. This is it. Y'all see me just make it now. You can go in and you can add more if you want in those areas that you still see, you know, some of the, what do you call it? I can't talk today. More of the crunch, but that's why I say I think you want to do it as fine as you can in some spots. You want to have a little bit of fine pieces and the big pieces, because I mean it gives a little bit of texture variety, you know. And like I said, I like the French vanilla better than the regular. It gives a little more flavor, more custard taste. But okay, so anyways, I went ahead and added more. So this is what it looked like. So what I'll do now is I'll put this in the freezer. I see a little spot and I don't like that. So I'll put this in the freezer and let it get a little firm, and then after that, like I said, you could put it in there, I would say 3 minutes, 4 at the most, because you really don't, but like I said, it's to touch. So once you feel that it has gotten firm, because everybody knows what dipped cones is supposed to feel like, so once you feel that it's gotten firm, you can take it out of the freezer and then add your cream cheese. And like I said, I'll show you on the second one. I recommend, don't necessarily try to make it like an ice cream cone where you're trying to fill up the whole entire cone, because that's a lot. So I would say probably start more so towards the middle part, enough to where it just shows up at the top part. Ooh, my nail, I'm sorry guys. That drives me crazy. Enough to fill up, make it look like a cone at the top, but I wouldn't try to fill it all the way up at the bottom because that's a lot. That's a bit much. I think it is because cream cheese is thick and it's filling and it's a little sweet. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the freezer. And like I said, I don't have nothing to sit it up in, so I'm doing what works for me, and I'm gonna just stick this in my freezer, but I'm gonna just put it in between the racks where it sits up out, and that worked perfectly fine. So I think that should work for you guys. You don't have to go out and buy nothing to do it. This is it. All right, so we'll put this in the freezer for about 3 to 4 minutes, or firm to touch, and we will be back. This is what it looks like. This is the second one that I made of the strawberry crunch waffle cones, and this is my filling. And like I said, I'm not going to do all the way at the bottom because I just think that's just a little bit much, but I think that's so cute. I hope you guys can see that. And then you can add some strawberries on there if you want. Let's see. I hope I don't mess it up. So if you want, you can cut you up some strawberries. I am not a, I don't talk about it if I'm not cutting them right. But if you want, you can do, you know, little something, a little garnish. Also, too, one of the things that I said that I wish I had thought about, I actually was supposed to get this and I completely forgot. But get the Ghirardelli strawberry. It's like a syrup. They sell it at the store. But yeah, you can put that on there if you want. A little something. Things I would recommend is if you don't want it super sweet, get regular vanilla jello. Then instead of adding 1 spoonful of flour, I would do a half or maybe 1 1/4 of flour. Because like I said, I think if you make it too, with the butter that's moist, if you don't add enough flour to help draw up some of that moisture, then you can get it more clumpy, which is what I ran into. And I just had to like figure out a way of like, it has to be a way for me to fix this. And all I did was go in with a fork, and you're just gonna have to make it real fine yourself. It's okay if you have to do that. If you even want to use a fork, once, instead of putting it in a food processor, once you add your butter, flour, and the actual jello, just, you can do it with a fork. You don't have to worry about getting a food processor if you don't have one, or a grinder. You know what I'm saying? You can use a fork and just get a bowl, and you're just gonna have to hand mix it, but it's fine. It happens. I just will say it would get really fine and really precise if you had like a food processor or a grinder, something that grinds stuff up. I do recommend for you to try to have something for it to sit on. So like, I know, and I don't know if this would work, but something with a cone. I'm trying to think, what could I suggest, because I don't really know. To where when you are trying to pipe the cream cheese, something that you can sit it in. Make sure you have enough flour, and then if you don't have a food processor or a grinder, just know you just have to do everything by hand. It's fine to make it really fine. The cream cheese, if you get it more of room temperature, then you don't feel like you have to force the cream cheese to come out, because that's what I felt like I had to do, because I put it back in the refrigerator. So if I would kept it out, it had a little soft, it would be easier. That's it, guys. So I appreciate you guys watching. I'm not sure what I'll have on my channel next. I really want to try to do a pantry organization video, but I'll have to see how that works out. Hope you guys have a great day and a great week, and I will see you on the next video. Take care. So here is the end result of the strawberry crunch stuffed cheesecake waffle cones. And here is a picture of just me doing some sprinkled waffle cone as well. So just please comment, like, and subscribe, and see you guys on the next video.